shocked that it was just a joke. Cops were only there just to prod and poke. Not a fair trial, not a fair game. Whole thing's whack, just a lying shame. Innocent girl, just gone missing. Puzzle ways, broken people upset, just a bad bet. Torn apart from the start, across the pain, nothing but blood and hate. They never did lay or shut the fuck they say. Everything's just a shame in their evil game. Locked in a cage, they lied to their face. Injustice, such a disgrace. Got to their brains, twisted their play. Everything's just a sham. Lock, boom, bam, gone. They didn't do it all. Come to your senses, everything is just foolish. Please fully show that it was just a joke. Cops were only there just to prod and poke. Not a fair trial, not a fair game. Whole thing's back, just a lying shame. Innocent girl, just gone missing. Puzzle ways, broken people upset, just a bad bet. Every day I wait, alone I pray. For my brother, for his mother, and bereaved family. Kid's just innocent, was only 16, time to set him free. He's not guilty, there's no way in hell. Corruption made a fall, lose it all. Friends like band family, time to come together. Who's with me? Who's with me? They didn't do it all. Come to your senses, everything is just foolish. Please clearly show that it was just a joke. Cops were only there just to prod and poke. Not a fair trial, not a fair game. Whole thing's back, just a lying shame. Innocent girl, just gone missing. Puzzle ways, broken people upset. They didn't do it. Come to your senses, everything is just foolish. Please clearly show that it was just a joke. Cops were only there just to prod and poke. Not a fair trial, not a fair game. Whole thing's back, just a lying shame. Innocent girl, just gone missing. Puzzle ways, broken people upset, just a bad bet.
Oops, shouldn't check that yet. Hello, my name is Courtney Skinner. This is kind of my second live stream type thing. I'm pretty new at it, but I'm going to try to do all right tonight. As I said in my chat, I don't have permission from Brad Dassey to use his music, but I really like his music. I like that song. So hopefully it's all right. Like I said, he has a free download at braddasseymusic.com, and he is Brendan's brother. So really cool dude. Working really hard to put the word out to help get him free as well. So something came up today that was pretty interesting, or seemed like it was this morning, that Brendan Dassey has written a letter, emailed a letter apparently to his mom, Barb Taddick, and a little bit of talk has gone on about it through Facebook, I think. I think Jax West did a video. She was doing a live today, and it kind of came up, so she talked about it as well. And I just wanted to read about it and see what other people's thoughts are on it, and I don't know, spread the word, I guess. I find it a little bit ironic that it's coming out after we've been talking kind of heavily about Stephen's letter, because obviously Stephen's letter said that the family is involved, and it wasn't but a few days ago that we did our video saying that just putting out what Stephen said because we wanted his words to be heard. And now all of a sudden we have this. So it's pretty interesting. Once again, I'm computer illiterate, so I'm going to be reading it off my laptop. I wanted to start with this. I can make it bigger here. I'll show it to you. I don't know if I have to show it to you, but anyway, Barb posted yesterday. Is it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Barb comes up as Barbara Ellen. She doesn't come up as Barb Avery, so if anybody doesn't know. And there's also a picture of her that's filtered, so it doesn't look like her. But anyway, it's Barbara Ellen. And her post yesterday says, "None of you people went through what we all went through. I bet not one person that bullied the family will apologize when this shit is all done. And to find out that none of us had anything to do with it." So that was interesting. That came up yesterday. And my reaction was, wow. because that's really not at all where everything is leading. I don't know about bullying in the family. I mean, I won't, well, I guess maybe in some ways I apologize, but things get pretty tense in this alleged truther community. So, of course, I've had my moments with Barb. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. So then today, let me get rid of this one. Okay, so today's post, I found it on the page called Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey Are Innocent, that I'm a member of. And I'll show it to you here so you can kind of see that it's, can you see it? Yeah, let me see. No. I have weird lighting in here, so sorry about that. You can find it. Maybe I could post a link to it underneath. I apologize. I didn't realize it was going to do that. Anyway, it says it's from Barb Taddick, or it's labeled Barb Taddick, like I would assume it's her email address, sorry, from Dassey Brendan, and it's got his number on there. It was sent Tuesday, March 1st at 6:41 p.m. So last night, it sounds like. The subject is message for Facebook at 4:40 p.m. It says, "Hi, Mom. Please post this message from me to everyone on Facebook pages, okay? Thanks. Dear supporters, I don't like it when people are making accusations against my family members, Bobby, my mom, and Scott, when they didn't do any of the things they are being accused of. Please stop doing this. I love everyone that is supporting me and my family. I really appreciate it. I really do. This message is really from me. If you don't believe me, then write to me and ask me yourself. As for the GoFundMe page for finding me new lawyers, I don't want this to go on. Please don't do this. I have wonderful lawyers that are fighting and supporting me right now. I don't want any other lawyers. If any other lawyers want to join my team, then they should contact my lawyers and ask them and what they can do to help in any way. Thanks for your time, care, compassion, and support. It means a great deal to me and my whole family. Love, Brendan." Okay. So obviously I was on that post like a fly on shit today. And I had a few things to say. A lot of people commented. I think by the time I kind of turned it off, there were about 100 comments on it. A lot people in support of Barb, and obviously people that are not. So later in the day, it looks like Carla put out a post. I'll read that one too, because I think there's a little confusion. Now it got pretty confusing for everybody, I think. Carla also posted to the same page that is Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey Innocent. And it's the same letter, but she has written on the top of it. So there is talk about a GoFundMe for a new lawyer for Brendan. I tried getting through to Corey that Brendan didn't want any of this, and it's sad that we had to ask him to email us for him to stop. Hasn't my cousin Brendan gone through enough not to worry about certain individuals? Was Corey Zipper on this chat here? I think that's who she's referring to. I don't really know anything about that. I think on that same page, I did see a post probably about a week ago, and it seemed like a woman from another country, and sounded pretty sweet. Anyway, she was saying that she wanted to start something, and I don't know if Corey is part of that or what. I don't really know what that's about, the GoFundMe, and yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we got on the chat. We got Dave Bagaka. Hi, Dave. Man's Life. Hi, Kim. Dave Agatka saying Bobby did not lie on the stand. Scott did not lie. Barb did not go on TV and say they were guilty. I think it's in a parallel universe there, Dave, because I mean, obviously Brendan isn't getting the whole story. We all sat and listened to the phone calls between Brendan and Barb. And obviously Scott was in the background of a lot of them. And the man is vile. You know, he is, oh my God, I can't even, I mean, he's abusive. He was horrific to Brendan on the calls and to Barb. I have a lot of issues with Scott, and I don't care. Here's the way I feel about Brendan, I guess. This came up during the last rally. And of course, because Jax West had anything to do with it, Barb and Carla had to get in there and try to, slay everybody in sight. But Barb actually put out a statement then saying that Brendan did not want to rally for him. And, we try to, things are weird. But anyway, back then, a year ago, we put out a video supporting the rally because we want to be in the rally. But we know there's a lot of division. So we don't really want to tack ourselves onto anybody because we stand alone and we stand with everybody. We're great with everybody. But anyway, Kim Ducott and I put out our own video on the rally because I'm a rally freak. I'm all about people standing and being activists. So, and we just wanted to, support the rally, get people to rise, whatever. Anyway, so then Barb put out the statement that Brendan didn't want the rally. And oh my God, I actually lost a few friends through the research community about that because they were so pissed at me because I wanted to have a rally for Brendan and they were saying the family doesn't support it. And I guess back then I said the same thing I say now, and that is Brendan doesn't have all the facts and he doesn't know what's really going on. So, and it isn't his choice whether we rally for justice for him. I'm sorry, but like I say a lot, and it's probably very wrong of me to say he's a boy to me. He's a child. So I understand that he isn't getting all the facts, but I really didn't care what he had to say about the rally. I was going to support him and get this shit, this rally going because I love to scream for his freedom. So I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but that's what I'm going to say about that. No one apologized to Dave for being right. Kim Best says, I'm not sure what that about being right about it all. Well, he's going to get his due thanks, I'm sure of it. Nan's Life says, way I see it, we are likely soon to see some filings because this type of stuff, drama, starts happening just before a new drops on the case. Well, I agree. And I remember when Zellner, when she put out the information, I'm confused now. Let me think. She had put out something, and at the time we were hanging out a lot with Jim Thyrell, and Jim said he was at the salvage yard, and Earl called down to Zellner and said, "What's going on?" I think this was when she put out the tweet or something about Solinsky seeing Bobby with the bearded guy. So a lot of people were out looking for the bearded guy. So when Jim claims, and now Jim's a tough story to talk about because he's a little wishy-washy, I found out. But anyway, he had said that day that Earl called down to Zellner, and Zellner said to Earl, "We're just fishing right now." So I don't know what that means. But obviously it gets people talking, it gets people searching, it gets, it got a hell of a lot, it got everybody talking. So it worked out quite well. And yeah, I'm sure there's stuff coming because we know what's going on and hopefully things are coming. Kim says Brendan is exonerated. He needs to be free. Well, he's not gonna, the state isn't gonna let this happen. You know, I think we all know that. Uh, and I mean, imagine, just imagine. So, you know, personally, I don't know if we're ever gonna get any resolution over any of this, but it's great to bring it to light. You know, certainly, we all around here know to keep a close eye on the judicial system, right? Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about, um, well, just the first line of his letter says, I don't like it when people are making accusations against my family members, Bobby, my mom, and Scott. That's just too specific for me, I guess. You know, like, those are I mean, damn, that's pretty much who everybody's talking about. So it's kind of a coinky dink that he's all of a sudden putting this letter out. And then, you know, Carla admits right in her post, she says, what does she say? That we had to ask him to email us for him to stop. So I kind of see what's going on out there with Barb and this, you know, Corey Zipper stuff, because Corey Zipper has been out there trying to get, you know, people to wake up to the corruption out here. And it's just kind of funny that uh, this is kind of all related to him. It kind of seems like, if it has to do with that GoFundMe, I'm not really sure, but I don't know. I am not going to quit accusing Scott. I'm sorry. I'm pretty positive yes on Bobby being part of the frame job. Don't know about the rest. And Barb, I've given Barb too many chances. Barb is just, I mean, come on, Barb. Damn. I'd hate to be you, Barb. That's all I can say. Truth is going to come. And I have a feeling that, well, I still don't think it will get Brendan Dassey free, but we'll see about that, right? So where are we here? It sounds like he's pretty happy with his lawyers. That's his choice, I guess. It sounds like Chad Keller put out also a big long post about this, and he's talking about getting rid of Drizzen and Nyrider. He doesn't trust them, but he does believe that Bob, Scott, and Bobby are all innocent. So not sure. I mean, I read it. I gave it my thoughts. I'm not really sure. I don't follow too closely, so I don't know. Dave Bagatka says, in my humble opinion, the bearded guy was the judge. What judge, Dave? You've said that before. Do you mean the judge of the case? Like, or is this a nickname? I'm not really sure. So you'll have to comment me here on that one. To me, I think the bearded guy was Chuck. I don't know. You know, they're very vague about that, but I know Anna saw Chuck down at the turnaround with Bobby, so I just have to assume it was Chuck. If it wasn't, excuse me, I'm not sure. I haven't really done a lot of research into Sowinski and his statement. I don't have any reason to believe that he's lying. I don't know, you know, so if other people have, you know, something to say about that, let me know. I'm not sure. So I labeled this video fantastical because something really kind of funny happened to me today. We got a bunch of people doing research. So today I had a little time, so I went over to the Appleton Public Library because I'm looking into some other stuff, and I'm a big lover of the library, you know. So I went in there and did my research, and then I had a little bit more time left. So I looked into the books at the library on Avery, and obviously they have Mike Greasebox, they have Kenny Kratz's, they have Jerry Buting's. I think there was one more. I didn't recognize the guy's name. Might have even been two more, which is pretty impressive, except for, well, you know. So anyway, I picked up this Ken Kratz book. Like I said, I had a few more minutes on the meter, and you don't burn your money away on that. So I thought I'd just thumb through the book, and I did. And basically, it was saying, everything that we've all talked about, and the same old, oh, he threw a cat in the fire, and I did get to one point that I thought was pretty interesting that I hadn't heard come out this way. And not that it's credible, it's from Kratz, but he says that the night that in 85, when Stephen did that to Sandra Morris, that Sandra Morris wasn't the one who contacted the police. He said it was her neighbor, which is kind of funny because her neighbor is Judy Dvorak. So it's, still Bill, Judy, Kusurik, and Dave Dvorak, pretty much, right? Wouldn't you think? Did I say Bill, Sandra, Judy, Kusurik? Yes, all the people that that framed him in the beginning are also in the Trex Tavern pictures, which is amazing. So I'm going to get more into that because I want to just read a few pages from ironically, chapter 13 of Ken Kratz's book, and it's called The Vast Fantastical Police Conspiracy. But I'm going to answer a couple questions or comments up here, and then I'll get to that. Millbilly says Chuck was in Crivets. Okay, I don't know when. I need a date on that. On the 31st or on the 3rd or the 5th. I'm not sure. Diana Brugge, sorry. I am just amazed that there are not more people raising hell about all the corruption in general. That letter has words and wording that doesn't sound like Brendan, just my opinion. Yeah, there were on the post on this Facebook page, a lot of people commented and people did get on there and a lot of people were questioning whether it was from Brendan. And I think their answers were that they're now using tablets in jail. So he probably has spell check, whatever. And that makes sense because he's in Oshkosh, which is more of a minimum security. Steven's in Waupun, which is, I think, heavier. I don't know if it's max, but it's heavier. And also Steven's he's on a life sentence, so it's a little bit different there, I think. Okay, hold on here. Yes, and people did comment that it wasn't Brendan's wording. It's certainly not Brendan's wording. Everybody knows that. And Carla just admitted that they had him write it. So he probably did get help with it, and I don't know if that's too bad. I mean, we all know that Barb is manipulating Brendan. Barb, I mean, come on, you guys. She's the mother of Brendan. I mean, we all sit here and know the many, many steps we'd take to get this kid free. And she won't even solve the case. I mean, she won't even roll over in bed and ask Scott the truth. So I don't really know what more to say to that. And about the corruption and raising hell, I'm working on it. It's hard. Like I said, everybody knows it's corrupt. So people try to just mind their own business, take care of their families. Okay, Dave is saying the judge that they hunt with, Judge Jerome Fox. Okay. Could be, I don't know that I've seen him with a beard, but I'm mistaken now because I'm thinking Voldo. Okay, Millbilly, you're saying Chuck left with Brendan on 11-4 in the flatbed, and he called Stephen and said he had seen lights in the pit. Yeah. I personally, if you want my opinion, I don't know if you want to hear this, but I think Chuck and possibly Bobby were going to take Stephen out that night. I think it was set up that he would see the lights back there. Bobby was on a four-wheeler, right? And that, I guess I could be wrong about that. I don't know. It just seems fishy because Bobby being on a four-wheeler in that pit I mean, he has access to everything and even out the back, past, through how they brought the Rav in, he would have access. And I don't believe a fucking thing Chuck says. I do not care what Chuck says. He's an absolute psychopathic liar. So if Chuck said he was in Krivitz, he probably wasn't. That's all I can say. I don't know. Kisser My Chick says, I found a very disturbing article on the attorney for Laurencia Benbenic. In the article, it says there is a board who oversees the Innocent Project. Yeah, that's funny, because do you know that Mark Williams, who is involved in the Avery case, was also in the Benbenic case in the 90s? He stepped in. And, there is a connection, yes, with the Innocent Project there too. Okay, Millbilly saying Stephen and Bobby went to go look, but never went into the pit. Yeah. Yeah, and there again, I say, from what I know about everybody I've talked to and the people that I know that frequent the salvage yard and have for their lives, it is very strange that Chuck didn't go check on that himself. Chuck would have never really, he's the owner, or he's the main owner, or thinks he is, of the salvage yard. Do you really think he's going to send Stephen back there? Especially when there's a missing girl and he could be framed. At no point is Chuck ever worried this is going to come on him, ever. Listen to every one of his phone, whatever the fuck he's doing, his interrogation in the back of a police car. He's in no way worried that this is going to come on him. Why not? Why not? Shouldn't Bobby have been worried if all that shit was on his computer? Shouldn't Scott have been worried? I mean, he's a woman beater. He attacked his wife. He shot the shotgun off in the city that nobody gets to see. So I don't know. Kissing My Chick says, let me know if you can find it. I will send it to you. Send it to me. Sure, that's great. I am on my 6th Laurencia Benbenic book, and I'll tell you, the very best one is Woman on Trial, and she wrote it. It's hard to read a book when you already know a lot of the story, but she goes into some amazing detail, and she says a lot of names, and it's pretty amazing. So they're all pretty good, but this one I would say is the best. But yes, I'd love any information on it, so send her over. Millbilly says Bobby was fixing his four-wheeler. They drove in Stephen's vehicle to look. Okay. And they didn't find anything, I guess it is, right? Who Cares says, still think Stephen was to be killed, but they didn't look long enough. And that theory is kind of, I don't know. For me, that theory goes along with, I'm not, yes, okay. I mean, I feel like when I believe that the RAV4 was hers at the turnaround, that made sense to me, because then they didn't need to move the RAV at the turnaround, right? I feel like, yep, they were probably going to take him out, because I kept saying, why was the RAV at the turnaround, and how were they going to justify that on, if they had found something on the 31st? How were they going to justify that RAV was at the turnaround? And I guess we were thinking because they were going to get rid of Stephen, and then they wouldn't need to move the RAV4. But I don't, personally, for myself, I'm not even my whole team of people I'm working with feel the same way, but I feel like that RAV4 at the turnaround was a decoy. It wasn't Teresa's. And I also believe the RAV4 at the salvage yard is a decoy, not Teresa's. Kim Bess says, I do think they would have killed him. I think that was what they were going to do. If he was gone, there would have been no arrest at Avery Salvage Yard, and Chuck and Earl would end up with the property. Yeah. Well, and it would have made sense to just not have to worry, because I was trying to put together, why would Chuck and Bobby be seen with that rabbit, the turnaround? Like, why were they so bold? Why was it just not even questioned that Colburn drove by it so many times to do his, investigation, whatever? But I could only conclude that there was more to be done. It was brought there, and then the rest was going to come, and it was still going to lead back to Stephen, and it wouldn't be much of a big deal. People would just be like, yeah, he killed himself, and the rab is at the turnaround. Because people would, might think he would kill himself because they were going to frame, or because he thought they were going to frame him again. I don't know. But I know that I've talked to Anna and another person who said that after they saw it at the turnaround, they saw it across the street. And we have some good satellite pictures of that. And the building still stands, and there's a big overhead door, which is where people saw it. So I just don't think that Teresa's RAV4 has been any part of this case, because it would prove too much, and they can't hide everything in it. And it's an absolute setup. I don't care what anybody says. Nothing makes sense. Billy says, why do you believe that? Why do I believe that? I don't know what you mean. Why a decoy? Like I said, because I feel like I believe that RAV4 was taken out of there at 3:45. I don't know where Teresa was. I don't know who drove it out of there, but I assume Scott Bobby. And it either was, or they got her, well, I don't know. I just feel like what they accuse Stephen of is that she never left the salvage yard, that he killed her right there on the salvage yard. I personally believe that if she is dead, whoever did it the same way, right on the salvage yard. Why would they leave the salvage yard to do this, right? So just, I guess because Scott and Bobby were so bold to be seen near it, that it wasn't completely hidden. It could have been pulled up, I don't know, 5 feet, and nobody would have ever seen it, but it was seen, and I get it that it would have been hard to have been seen because there was a willow tree at the time, and it was a much different, the landscape there was a lot different, but somebody wanting to hide it would have never been seen. So I feel like it was just part of a plan, and I know how close Scott lived to there, and I know how Ridge Road comes right out at the turnaround. I just, I don't think there was enough DNA in Teresa's car. I don't think the blood in the car was Stevens, and it would have been because I guess, Millbilly, because I know you don't believe it, but I will never believe the police didn't frame this, and whoever helped them either, had to or just helped them. I don't know. But there is no coincidences here. This did not happen randomly. Bobby did not mastermind this whole thing and fool Wisconsin DOJ and the state troopers and all the, no way. There's no way. And I just know enough about our system and what they've done to so many others that they framed them. Look into Paul Rabas. Okay, I will. Kim says, because hers was green, dark green, and the one on the yard was blue. Well, yeah. Who cares, says Millbilly, because it didn't go as planned. So who cares is saying that it was a decoy because it didn't go as planned, or that they had to put it back on the property because it didn't go as planned. They didn't get to take out Stephen that night. And I have to agree. For me, there's no way Chuck would have sent Stephen back there, or Bobby, really. Chuck would have turned right back around and seen who the hell was on his yard. But he wasn't worried about being framed or anybody being framed. So Kim Vest says, Stephen said Scott was at Barb's at noon on the 31st. Now, is he lying about that? Stephen doesn't lie. That is some weird ass stuff too, because Scott says he wasn't even there that day, but but Steven says he was there. So who am I going to believe? Steven. I do believe Steven. Millbilly says, stay away from rabbit holes. They're everywhere. Okay, so is that what you mean with this Rabas guy? That I should stay away from that? Okay, got it. I don't think Barb was at that hospital during the day, or Scott was. I mean, I don't think Scott was at the hospital. I think he may have gone that evening, but I don't think he was there as long as he says. I don't think Barb was with him, or if she was, if Barb was with him, then she's a big part of this whole setup. So we do have somebody that we're trying to get in contact with, Zellner, that knows a really amazing piece of information. And we absolutely, or I absolutely believe that Scott and Bobby are completely involved, and maybe Barb didn't know at the time, but she certainly knows now. So I don't really give a shit what Barb has to say about it. I don't care that she's put out a letter asking us not to accuse the three of them. I think it's really not going to work out so well for her. And, you know, I guess it's a really clear indication of how manipulated Brendan is by Barb. And it proves too that Barb don't give a shit about that kid, or she'd step way off, you know. And like I said, she'd roll over and ask Scott what the truth is, because Scott knows the truth. Sorry, Barb, but he does. Dave Bagatka says Stephen Avery is lying about being at Patsy's on the 31st. What's Patsy's? Need to understand the players in 85. Okay. Do you think I don't, Millbilly? I mean, do you think that I just sit here and put up a video because I'm bored and I want to go down a rabbit hole? Because I'm pretty deep in this shit. You know, I didn't sit for, I don't know how long it took me to read every one of those depositions. And the funny thing is I knew all of the players because I've been looking into this for a long time. So Kim says, why did they burn Scott's trailer within weeks of this? Why? Well, we can only guess, right? And do people know that Scott lived between the turnaround and the Averys, real close to the turnaround? You could almost, well, I guess you can't really see it, but if you were about 5 feet forward, you could, you know. So, and like I said, Ridge Road comes right out past that house or warehouse where they saw it, and it also hits pretty close, I mean, like within 100 or so feet of the turnaround. So there were a lot of ways it could have gone, a lot of ways to get it in and out. But really, do you think if it were Bobby, do you think he'd be seen by that rab at the turnaround? Okay, so if he was seen, or he was seen at the rab at the turnaround, how does he justify that? What is he fishing? Were they hunting? Did they think that nobody was ever going to suspect it was, you know, that they were part of this? Chuck too. What made Chuck so bold to be seen by that RAV4? That's again why I say it was an absolute decoy. They are not that dumb. They had a part to play, and it worked out really well. And like I said, all Chucky really needed to do was not do anything and let it happen. So yeah. Dave Bagatka says Scott Taddick got a nice new house out of the blue with no green. Yep, he did. And it's funny that the house that Scott and Barb own in their land literally butts up to where the rab was seen at the turnaround. Like their property line is right, it's there. It's right on the other side of the line. So I don't know how that all happened. I don't know who owned it then. I don't know if there was some connection to that. But I can tell you right now, if you were at the turnaround, you could probably walk across the dam that they blew up. They took out the dam to get right to Scott and Barb's right now. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't know who owned it. I don't know what the connection is. I just know right now that if I were sitting down there at the turnaround, Scott and Barb would be able to see me from their backyard or window. I mean, that's not really, that's a rabbit hole. Maybe that doesn't matter, but still a little ironic. Why did both Bobby and Scott's cells ping the same tower if they weren't together? I don't know. I don't know if they were together or not. I think I don't know. I go back to Bobby saying he was in the shower and then, took a 3-minute shower and saw Teresa at Stevens. I don't believe any of that shit. So it was all whatever they needed to say to get what they needed and get her where they needed, if it even happened that way, Millie, you're saying me too. I think that means you talked about the 85. Hey, Millbilly, why don't we talk? I think you and I should do a little live here because you just keep breaking my balls, dude. I don't know what your deal is. I really don't understand you. So I think you think I'm full of shit about the Ben Bennett case. I get that. I got you, man. I get it. It's a hard story to get out there, but I really don't give a shit what you think. You have been wrong. You did when I first put the information out, you got right on somebody's live and put up, somebody had a picture of Alfred Schultz, and you're sitting there going, that ain't Mike Bushman. Well, fuck no, it ain't Mike Bushman. We weren't saying it was. It's a conversation. I'm not sure. Why would you want to work against me? Why wouldn't you want to work with me? You live in Milwaukee. You made a comment on one chat saying you were going to go in and talk to Rich Wilson, who to this day is still the manager of the tracks, and you didn't. So I don't know. I mean, I think you might think I'm crazy or something, but I really am in contact with Ben Bennick's lawyer. She has the pictures. She's seen them. She sends me messages. It's no big fucking deal. I don't know what's going to come out of it, but I'm not making up stories, and I've done a lot of work. So either have a conversation with me. Let's go live. Let's talk about this instead of doing this on every one of my chats. Sorry, it's annoying. I don't need it, man, and I'm happy to talk about it. Actually, you've got some good computer skills. How about you help me with it? That would be amazing, Scott and Bobby's cell phones. No, Stephen in his letter had exactly where those things pinged off. And I guess I don't have the information on the pings, but it sounds like Stephen sure knows where they were at. And I guess I did see some posts on that. For me, it doesn't make sense that they are claiming they passed each other going hunting. So here's my thoughts on that. If Scott has a property that he's hunting, that's his property. Why is he going to leave his property to hunt somewhere else? 1. 2, if there's nothing on your property to hunt, like say it's dry right now, there aren't a lot of deer running through, why would Bobby go there anyway? Why would he go sit somewhere that the deer aren't running? Wouldn't he be with Scott? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, except for that they're both fucking lying. Of course they alibied each other at Jambo Creek Road because it's before Scott's, it's before the turnaround, right? And then once people did the research and went, oh, okay, Jambo Creek Road, that hashes out. It really doesn't. It's just the closest place that they can pretend that they alibi each other. It doesn't make sense to me at all. And like I said, I don't think that Scott's going to leave his hunting property and say, hey, Bobby, why don't you go hunt it? That would be such a waste of time. Avery Unshade says Barb lies. Well, come on. Just kidding. Brendan is obviously being manipulated by his mom. Yes, he is. And I mean, what can you really do about it? I don't know any kids not manipulated by their mom. You know, I don't really know the solution to this except for that it's really disturbing, you know. I mean, I just, it's absolutely amazing. Okay. Um, what was he really with Mike? Oh, are you talking about Bobby and Mike? Kim Vest. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I've done a lot of research on that. Whatever you guys have, you know, spill, put it on here. Dave says Brendan would say he wants to stay in prison if Barb told him to. Well, when I listened to the phone calls with Barb and Brendan, I don't know. I thought that was pretty harsh on Brendan that he would even have to hear Scott screaming in the background and you know Barb lying to him. I mean, didn't they literally move into a new house without even you know telling him? And I guess I just feel like Brendan knows that Scott is abusive and that Barb is abused. And I'm sure he worries for his mother, you know? And of course he's going to believe his mother. And like I said, she isn't going to be honest about Scott. She will not be. In my opinion, she will probably let Bobby burn too if it means she doesn't have to be real about Scott. So, um, I wonder if Mike O's dad had a beard. Gee, check it out. I don't know if Mike O's dad had a beard. I try to stay on the things I know, and when things come up, I let other people do the research because we're doing a lot here. Um, I don't really, you know, you guys aren't real talkative about this letter. I appreciate your comments, and I really don't have a shit ton to say about it either. I did want to say that it is completely counteractive to what Steven just said. So we need to be fucking real about that, okay? You know, Barb didn't just come out with that because it was a new email from Brendan. This is all related. This is Barb trying to make herself not look guilty because Steven's saying she is guilty, you know? And that's a crapshoot too, because I think Steven personally would like to have some contact with his family. And you know, today I was thinking about it and you know, he lost his mom. He's sitting there and he doesn't even really get to communicate with his family about the painful loss of your mother or, you know, it's just so sad to me. And none of them are going to contact him and they're all acting like, you know, he was putting so much stress on Dolores and I mean, there are 50 shades of fucked up in that whole situation. It is so sad, and I don't know. It kind of, like I said, how do you think Barb would feel? How do you think Brendan would feel if he didn't get to say goodbye to his mom? How do you think Barb would feel if she didn't get to say goodbye to Brendan? I mean, you don't get to decide if a mother and child are going to get their last goodbyes. I really think that the family could have handled it so much better. And actually, it it might be best that they handled it the way they did because it showed exactly who that family is. And with Dolores's GoFundMe for her funeral as well. You know, I'm all about Dolores. Was a great lady. But these people have, especially since she was on hospice, and it doesn't even matter that she was on hospice. This is your mother. I mean, Chuck has a $300,000 property in Cribbets, and Earl's isn't quite as much, but he's got that too. You know, this family isn't wanting for money. Why do we have to pay for Dolores's funeral? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I guess, you know, if Dave Bogatka's mom dies, or are we obligated here? I mean, I suppose a lot of people would be like, Dave, pay for your own mom's funeral, right? And it wasn't even a funeral, it was a gathering. And I think people brought food and it was at the salvage yard. So I don't know how much money was needed for that. And I don't really know a lot of men that don't have their wives' funerals taken care of. So then and again, at that time, Stephen did get a hold of us and asked us to post and get it to as many people as we could that do not donate to Dolores's funeral because it was paid for, and the family is constantly profiting off of their incarceration. Kim Vest. Why would Scott call him the names he did? What a sad, sad man. God, he only wanted to talk to his mom. Yeah. And yeah, there's a psychology to all that too, you know, of his wanting to protect her, you know. I'm lost in the conversation. Yeah, I think you guys are talking about things I don't know. Kim Vest, I want to say that Barb is really against Stephen's letter. She's trying to manipulate Stephen's letter. Well, yeah. Because she is worried. And I'm telling you, she's worried about Scott. That's the way I see it. Because her whole world's going to come crashing down when the truth comes out about that prick. Diana says, thank you for the live. Very interesting to listen to you and your points. Please be safe. I worry about all of you because of what is uncovered. Thank you. Prayers for all. Thank you. Yeah, Kim, and to keep her family out of the focus of this. Yeah. Well, she didn't say it. Brendan didn't say the whole. Well, I guess that because he's saying that the Dasseys, he's going to keep that family out of it. He didn't say keep Chuck out of it or a lot of it, you know. So does that mean that it's free range on them? Don't think so, but you know they're involved too. Thank you. Oh, Leah loves Elohim. Speaking of crivets, can you share what you think is going on up there? Let me think here. I can't yet. I really can't because we're looking into it and I don't have all the information yet. So we will when we get it, you know. But just me says a lot. A lot's going up in crivets. Yeah, we have some crazy stuff that we're looking into right now. Okay, so like I said, I am not going to make this damn video 2 hours like I always do. I really just wanted to get this out. I totally appreciate you guys being here. But in my adventure at the public library today, I came across something that is so amazing. I have to read it to you. And it's from Ken Kratz, which makes it even more amazing because you're going to love it. I'll get back to that 1 second. I have to say this because I've forgotten to say it for so long, and that is that when I did Dave Bagatka's on here, that's why I want to mention this, that when I was doing my research on newspapers.com, I did it several times. Like I'd get my subscription and then I'd do all my research and then I'd go away for a month and then I'd get back on and get another subscription. But so in it, you know, I did research on all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if I literally looked into Dave Bagatka or his name came up and then I looked into him, and I looked into him because I like him, because I know him and I know his story. So whatever. But what I found so interesting about that is he came, when you hit on him, he comes up. And I'm not sure when. I assume it was probably about 2016. But I could check on that, get back to you. But so anyway, they did an article in our local paper, the Appleton Post-Crescent. which is where Johnny Ferrick worked. But they did an article, and the theme of this article was on the Avery case, and they did a whole spread on all the different conspiracy theories involved in this case. That all we crazy fucking lunatics are out here saying. And, it went through a list. And of course, one of them was Dave Bagatka's, theory, probably on pulling up in the jet ski. I'm not sure. I don't remember right now. But what I wanted to point out is that one article, like all the articles you pull up on Avery, Teresa Halbach, Brendan Dassey, any of it, you'll get the article, and then they may have published it, like they'll publish it in Appleton, and maybe it'll go over to Milwaukee, maybe they'll publish it in Minnesota or something, right? 2, 3 articles that you can trace. This one, I believe, had 11 or 12 different newspapers that they had distributed this to. Which is just so goddamn funny, right? They're not gonna, when somebody, comes out with something that's gonna, make the cops look bad, or, Johnny Ferrick used to write about the corruption out here, and Ken Peterson was kind of one of his focuses at the time, and it was funny. So I just thought it was real interesting that the one that they printed so many times involved Dave Bagatka and all the conspiracies, because that's the problem in the world. As we all know, the word conspiracy theorist is thrown out there as an insult by a lot of people, and it cracks me up, because if you believe that Stephen and Brendan were framed, then you also know that this is a conspiracy, and it is a conspiracy. There was a conspiracy to frame Stephen Avery. Okay. But anyway, so at the library, I pulled out this Kratz book, and it's funny because a couple of years ago, when I was trying to resolve my issue with foul play, I was on their Discord page, so I was able to, I just kind of lurked on there. I wasn't going to leave until they resolved my issue, so I just was on their page. I don't think I commented. I don't even know if I could, actually. I don't know. But anyway, you can see what's going on in there. And one of the things that continually was going on, and mind you, at the time, Chad Keller was in foul play, Christy Lynn was in foul play, Obi was in foul play. I don't know, Mill Billy, you still in foul play? I don't know if you were back then, but a lot of people in it. And I think it was Christy Lynn, was reading the book that Ken Kratz wrote. So I was a little unnerved by that back then, and thinking, what the fuck is anybody reading that for? And so she read it, and apparently it was such a hit on foul play that she read it again. Well, I won't even comment about how I felt about that. Just kind of like, what a fucking waste of time. You don't really need to read the book. I'm telling you, I thumbed through it today. But I did find chapter 13 in Ken Kratz's book. And when I got home, I read it to my team here, and we were laughing pretty hard, kind of. But I wanted to read it to you because one of the things that I know they do in these cases is they hide the truth in plain sight. And if at any point along the way they can mock you, they absolutely do. I believe that Stephen was mocking Sandra Morris, and when he was doing that to her, because of these pictures I hold. I think that he was saying to her, you're all in these pictures, okay? Because they were deputies, and Kucerik was, he was running for sheriff. I'm not sure if he was that. We just discovered something new about the pictures in the day. Anyway, I'm going to read this. And hey, it's 6 pages of Ken Kratz, and I would not normally give my time to this fucker, but you have to hear this, because I know most of you would never pick up this goddamn book. So I'm going to read it, and I hope you all enjoy it, because it's fucking hilarious. I might need some better light here. I'll try my best. It's chapter 13, The Vast, Fantastical Police Conspiracy. Do you believe in fairy tales? I hope so, because you're going to need a downright childlike ability to suspend disbelief in order to get your arms around all the coincidences, the circumstances that would have had to line up smoothly and perfectly, the conclusions define all logic required for law enforcement to pin Teresa Halbach's murder on an innocent Stephen Avery. Let's lay out this spun up conspiracy. Have some aspirin handy. It's going to make your head hurt. Oh, Kratz, you're just a silly one, aren't you? Deputies Lincoln Colburn, with no history of misconduct or dishonesty, would have had to locate Teresa Halbach's RAV4, determine that Teresa had been murdered or decide to kill her themselves, and drive the SUV from wherever it was found to hide it at Avery's auto salvage without being detected. Sometime, this is good, you guys, sometime between October 31st and November 5th of 2005. They must have known that Teresa was last seen at the Avery property on the date of her disappearance, unless by an incredible stroke of luck, the person they chose to set up for her murder just happened to be the last person to see her alive. Nobody can see them plant Teresa's license plates in a junk vehicle on the lot. No Avery can find Teresa's car before other, less crooked cops do, or before it's stumbled upon by citizen searchers. They would need Teresa's blood to spread around the back of the SUV. They would need Avery's blood, not the vial of blood in the clerk's office as that contained EDTA, but blood from actively bleeding Stephen himself. They would need the body of the 25-year-old victim, which these officers must have been prepared to mutilate and burn. Her body couldn't have been burned and broken already when they found it, remember, or they'd have no way to know for sure it was Teresa. Later, they'd have to sneak onto the Avery property, coming within 20 feet of Stephen's back door to distribute her bones, a tooth, and a rivet from her jeans in the fire pit, remembering to burn some additional tires to intertwine fragile bone fragments into the steel belts, and using Steve's rake so that bits of the same belts could later be recovered from between in the tines. For some reason, they must decide it would be best if the bones were found in more than one place, so they'd have to deposit 4 of the larger bones in the burn barrel behind the Dassey's residence. Busy night for Andy and Jim. Almost there. And isn't it funny, because it seems like Scott was around for all that. Seems like Scott could have pulled all that off, probably Bobby too. Huh, isn't that something? Okay, it goes without saying that nobody could see the officers burning Teresa's body or chopping it up, or observe them planting the tiny and incredibly brittle pieces of bone in the Avery burn pit and the Dassey burn barrel. And this nobody, including Steve's loud and protective dog, Bear. Sometimes I think about that poor dog. Oh, can't even imagine how that, what happened to Bear? Does anybody know? Okay. They'd also have to hope that several citizens saw Avery with a large bonfire at the exact location they chose for their bones planting, and on the very evening that Teresa went missing. Andy and Jim would be busy and lucky, spectacularly so. Isn't that fucking something? Isn't that something? Especially when we know Scott's working with Colburn. Well, let's keep going here. But we're just getting started. Oh, that's his words. These ruthlessly corrupt cops would have to slip into Calumet County evidence lockup or the Madison Crime Lab, depending on the date. And I do this one, quotes, you see, and borrow Stephen Avery's rifle, the same gun that deposited 11 shell casings found in his garage during the original search. Here's where it gets a little more difficult. They had to shoot the rifle, collect the bullet fragment, return to their secret stash of Teresa's DNA, and plant her DNA on the bullet fragment, and then plant that bullet in the Avery's garage under an air compressor sometime before March 1st, 2006. Well, shit, how could that have happened? Right? There was no time to get that done. Nobody there that could have helped get that there. They couldn't leave footprints in the snow that led to the garage, and they had to hope that someone would tell the police that the murder happened in the garage so that law enforcement would get a search warrant to look for the bullet. Oh. If you've managed to follow along so far, it gets even more complicated. These two dirty, dastardly cops had to collect non-blood DNA from Stephen Avery, not an easy task, as any perspiration they collected had to have Avery's skin cells sloughed in it, and plant that DNA on Teresa's car key with the blue fob that matched the National Guard lanyard in her locked SUV, and plant the key in Avery's bedroom while under observation by Calumet evidence techs. They also had to plant some of this non-blood DNA under the hood of the victim's SUV on the hood latch, either before it was discovered or while it was held in the custody of either the Madison Crime Lab or the Calumet County Sheriff's Department. That's interesting. Then they had to hope that Stephen's nephew or another person willing to implicate himself would someday tell officers that Avery reached under the SUV hood. The tip needed to corroborate the hood latch story, leading to that DNA's collection on April of 2006. Oh, Jesus, Brendan, thank God you told them that Stephen might have possibly lifted the hood on a fucking car that they planted in his fucking salvage yard. What a bunch of bullshit. But let me go on. Okay, almost done. Andy and Jim had to obtain the victim's phone, digital camera, and PDA. They had to burn those items in Avery's burn barrel, the same barrel that Brendan Dassey and Robert Fabian saw Avery himself burning items in on October 31st. Another stroke of luck for Andy and Jim. Sometime before November 5th is actually when they, got lucky there, without anybody noticing, which would take hours. They lucked out again when Brendan Dassey told investigators that Uncle Steve burned the contents of Teresa's purse in his own burn barrel. Wow. I don't remember that part. Well, thank you to the man that made him say that, right? If the cops weren't the ones to kill Teresa themselves, they'd have to be lucky enough that whatever method chosen by the real killer left no inconsistencies between the bullets they planted and two skull fragments with gunshot holes surrounded by tiny lead particles, and the findings of the first forensic anthropologist and forensic pathologist. Is that Sherry? Is that big-haired Sherry there? They couldn't, who's also in the pictures. They couldn't leave any prints or DNA themselves naturally, and neither could the real killer, or he or she. If he or she did, his or her prints and DNA couldn't be in the DOJ identification system. And finally, no witness or potential member of the conspiracy could talk about it anytime thereafter, ever. Ooh, is there a secret club? Are there secrets here? Kind of like the Ricky Hochstetler case, huh? Kind of like Lincoln or Ledvina and Colburn saying, yeah, it's a real strange thing. Nobody's ever come forward. Real strange, isn't it? Because you guys did it. I'll continue on with this fucking joke of a chapter 13. Oh, and by the way, nobody else anywhere could see Teresa alive after she was at the salvage property on October 31st, as that alone would totally destroy the Avery did it charade. She couldn't use her phone after she arrived at the Avery property ever. Stephen Avery couldn't have an alibi. Luckily, he and Teresa had the same 2-hour period of cell phone inactivity after her visit, before her cell phone was disabled permanently. Luckily, he'd chosen to take off work the afternoon of October 31st for the first time ever. Are you fucking kidding me? He was working on the motor in his truck. And from what we've heard, and if anybody knows the truth of that, when you're working on a motor in your truck, you kind of get it done. You don't dilly-dally because you might forget a screw or you might forget something. So did he take off a day of work? So what? He was right in his fucking garage then, right? Is from what I heard. Yeah, goddamn break. Where am I with this asshole? Oh my gosh. There we are. Oh, another good, here we go. Luckily, he specifically requested Teresa as a photographer and made some block calls to her that day, and then a non-block call after she left, and lied in early interviews about whether Teresa showed up at all and about whether he had a fire that night, all of which helped him look suspicious. Avery was a real help to his own framing. Andy and Jim owe him big time. You have to assume that these guys hated Avery enough that they were willing to risk not only losing their jobs, but also going to prison themselves for the murder of Teresa Halbach and or for planting evidence. That's a bushel of hate. But neither Link nor Colburn faced financial pain from Avery's lawsuit against Manitowoc County. In fact, pop that last aspirin and maybe pour yourself a drink too. Andy and Jim both thought Stephen Avery should win the case. Two veteran cops who had heard, I'm innocent, officer, more times than they could remember, believed a local man deserved a payday at the expense of the sheriff's department. Did everybody know that? I didn't know that. Wow. They were buddies to him, I see. I thought Stephen, whose kids went to school with my kids, and whose tow trucks the department used from time to time, deserved to get paid, Colburn said. I kind of felt bad for the guy. That sympathy, friends, not thumbing animus. Jim Link remembers the day Teresa's RAV4 was found. As soon as I rolled up on the salvage yard that very first day, I knew we would be under a microscope, scrutinized and watched every step of the way. Nobody could have planted evidence at that scene, even if they wanted to. The allegations, planting evidence, and that we conspired to get Avery convicted are just ridiculous, almost fantastical. Incredibly, many of the 40 million Making a Murderer viewers believe that fantastical story rather than accept the obvious answer that Avery did it. To one degree or another, the reputations of many devoted members of law enforcement were damaged in order that the defense and Making a Murderer could present this convoluted theory for which there was no proof as a possibility. Game on, said defense attorney Jerry Buting into the camera, co-cheerleader in chief for the story of a vast and fantastical police conspiracy. But it wasn't a game, of course, and the truth about what happened to Teresa Halbach isn't so complicated. It's a simple, sad story, nothing like a fairy tale at all. I'm sorry that you all had to listen to that. It's disgusting and disturbing, I know, but to me, that's them mocking. That's them in plain sight. This, to me, what he wrote is pretty much fucking right on, except for he doesn't need to, and he isn't, because during the first trial it was strictly to look at law enforcement, and Scott and Bobby weren't even mentioned in it. How convenient, right? And Scott and Bobby were working with law enforcement, so really, really beautiful how you presented all that. I think there was one chapter after this, could have been more, but this one was, like I said, a lot of fantastical things coming around, especially in regards to words written by assholes, I guess. All right. Oh wow, I'm way behind on it. Rip Bear. What time? We're at 8:17. I don't really know where it left off, people, so I'm just Leah loves Elohim says, what a knob. I think she's talking about Ken Kratz, and I will agree with you there. Just Me says, laughing my fucking ass off. Yes, isn't it fucking amazing? Can you even believe it? I can't. Avery Unchained, Kratz will be remembered as a creepy pervert. Yeah, you guys, no, don't read his book. I don't recommend that. I didn't even want to check it out so it would show that anybody ever read it, but it's funny to look through, because he doesn't spend more than a few pages going over his sexting stuff and, how DOJ treated him on that. And he's a pissed off little fucker, that's for sure, but guilty as the day is long. And the woman that he did that to, I don't think she went further in pressing, the issue. I think she probably could have taken it to court, but, in my case too, with my brother, in 2019, I received a letter from the district attorney saying we did make mistakes. You do have a case against us. It's past the statute of limitations, but apparently I could have done a civil suit or whatever. And my thought on it all is that I would rather die than sit in the snake pit of Calumet County, or sit across from Ken Kratz or Mark Ott or Pagel or Poggle, however the fuck you say it. Any of them. How do you win? How could you win in that system? They've already, did what they did and covered it up. Why would I step back into their arena? That would be insanity. And I think too that they probably or possibly expected me to file a civil suit and they would settle out and probably silence me. When I went in and talked to Nate Haberman, he looked me right in the eye and he said, "What do you want, Courtney?" And I said, "I want the fucking truth." I can't be bought on this. The damage is obviously done. My brother's dead and they covered that up and possibly have a part to do with that as well. So, yeah. Kim Vest, the car is here. Yep. My thoughts on that is that will, he said the car is here. The last thing I feel you would do after you would hide a set of license plates in this situation would be to call them in, just to be exact, fold them up, stash them. Yes, I believe that's what happened that night. Ken forgot to tell you can rehydrate dried blood with distilled water. Oops. Right? Exactly. Kiss her, my chick. Exactly. That's why he spelled it out in that way. It's just like Kenny Peterson saying on Dr. Phil or whatever. We could have just killed them. They do tell the truth. It's kind of their MO. They have to tell the truth. And we don't know it, but it's something to do with the way they do all this shit. Yeah, the blood vial's a big clue. Never saw them pics. I don't know what you mean. Dave. Rip Bear, right? Does anybody know what happened to his dog? Like in my imagination, I feel like that poor bear sat there chained up for forever, and then they called good old Christopher Kratz, who's in the pictures, and the veterinarian. We still don't know why they didn't call the Mishicot vet. Well, we kind of know why, but whatever. It almost reads like a Dr. Seuss book. Leah says it should be banned as well. Talk about fairy tales. Oh, no kidding. It would be interesting to see how much he's profited off that book. And actually, after just reading these 6 pages, this is the argument I have heard time and time and time again through Guilters, is what he's acting like here. Oh, it would have taken so many people, and oh, everything just worked out. Yeah, it did. No, Scott's not even accounted for after where he claims he's at the hospital with his mom. Yeah, that's truth's gonna come out about that too, Scotty Pooh. But yeah, got a little sidetracked there. Chicken bones, yeah. Kim Vest says chicken bones. I'm not just blurting that out. Oh, the purple vibrator, the vibrator and the toothbrush again. Yeah. There's a lot more depth to that than anybody wants to admit. Bobby Dassey for prison? Probably. I would think that obviously that's Zellner's goal. So, if she's honest and going after it, it's a good time for Barb to come forward. Good time for, Scott to be honest with Barb about setting up her kids. Calumet evidence tech that sat on the bed Teresa Halbach was supposedly raped and stabbed on while babysitting, right? And Mike Glazer, the Calumet County fucking medical examiner, played basketball with Mike Bushman. So anybody that think at JFK Prep in St. Nazians. So Calumet and Manitowoc are sister cities or brothers or whatever. Of course, they're one and the same, is all I'm going to say. Except for Deb Kakash. They brought in Glazer for a reason, absolutely. Or you have people in your club in most government jobs to control. Absolutely. Everything's control. Everything. And Dave, I was thinking the other day, my last video, I said, well, we need to rename this club. And I feel like we should give the club back the name that it originally had when it was, I believe, in St. Nazians, and this all kind of started, and that was the association. So they're the association, and it makes sense. It's who you're associated with. It's the secrets. It's the favors. He was also taking time off work to attend the meetings for his first wrongful conviction. Okay, Dan's life, you're talking about Stephen. Yeah, right? I mean, they had a bunch of footage of him, and he was present, right? He was present for every one of the depositions. And they were pretty long. Kim Vest says, do you like green eggs and ham? Or do I like green? Because they're referring to this being a Dr. Seuss book, and yeah. Kind of an insult to Dr. Seuss, but okay. Just me is getting a good laugh out of this. Haha, good. Good to see you laugh. I don't know. You guys are just leaving little vague things, and I think you're talking to each other. Hello, Julie. Glad I made it. We'll rewatch beginning to catch up. Okay, not the greatest video, but just a little bit of a conversation, and hopefully people will learn from it when they listen. At least we're getting out Brendan's letter and getting to speak up a little against it, I guess. Kim Vest, strange number in that chapter, huh? 13. Yeah. Uh, my memory is not right. I'm trying to remember what chapter the Ricky Hochstetler uh, section was in John Ferrick's book. It was either 13 or 15. I'm going to say 15 because I feel like I would have remembered 13. But it's all complete lies and propaganda as well. Leah loves Elohim. Okay, this is weird, but I was on Reddit today reviewing your old post, Courtney, and though thought that I came upon Dennis Jacobs' obituary. I clicked on the link. Yeah, Dennis Jacobs died well, it's been a while. It was funny. I was out there the day the day before it happened. So the morning, I think it was when it happened, it was like 3, 4, real early in the morning. And Jim Tyrell had called me, and he has a scanner, and he knows where all these guys live, and he's like, something's going on. So it was pretty interesting to, I don't believe that Dennis Jacobs died of a heart attack. I don't. Yeah, and that his brother is Bruce Jacobs, and he is a dirty mofo. Like, the word around here is dirty mofo. Also, rumors that he was dealing drugs as a police liaison, and that rumor is very old. So, and again, Bruce Jacobs got a 17-year-old pregnant a few years ago. There was also rumors he was having affairs with teachers, and that probably about a year. It was around when Dennis Jacobs died. Actually, we had heard that the teachers were going to start coming forward, so I didn't trust that Dennis Jacobs just died. And then there was an article written up in a local paper, and it was all about Bruce Jacobs being, I believe, an alderman or something in a district, and he had to move, so he was removed from that position. And it turned out it was because his wife was divorcing him. And then we had heard the rumors that he got a 17-year-old pregnant. And what was really, really odd about the newspaper article that they wrote about him is that not one word of it mentions a baby, but the picture that went along with the article was an infant's face. So, yeah. And also, please look into Bruce Jacobs' Facebook page, because he comes up as running the driver's ed program out there, and he's also doing some other training cops to be corrupt, it looks like to me. But anyway, very interesting. Look into him, because he's a dirty fucking dog. And if we could find the girl who got pregnant, that would be crucial. The rumor back then, or the documents or whatever the fuck, said that he was reprimanded because he hadn't filled out paperwork properly. I think it might have been in the Avery case, not sure. So they pulled him as the liaison officer, and the fucking kids out there nearly rioted to get him back. So a lot of depth to that stuff. If you got a dirty dog, you're going to keep him in the department, Kiss Army chick. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was, I'm sorry. So Kiss Army chick, wonder why Kenny Boy moved to California to be a commentator. Is he a commentator? I don't know what he is. Didn't know he moved to California. Poor California. They won't, well, he'll be able to find a fine swinging crowd out there. But with Ken Kratz, he was the DA over there in La Crosse. And it's funny, in the Ben Bennett book, I'm finding out that Christine and Alfred Schultz went to college in La Crosse. And I'll always wonder about missing women in lacrosse because for a very long time, the biggest suspect, and even still more of a suspect, obviously, than Brendan, certainly than Steven, is Ken Kratz, to me, honestly. Can that's just me. Maybe that's Kratz in that flyover every night. Oh, God. Leah loves Elohim. Am I reading that wrong too? And saw different messages that people had posted. A.D. Vogel had posted a comment that said, I hope you burn for 36 years. Yay! I don't know what that's about, but okay. Weird, huh? Yes, weird, huh? But okay. Saw different messages that people had posted. So they said that they hope I burn for 36 years, or they hope someone else does, Leah. I'm not sure what you mean there. Weird comment. Oh, so this Vogel person was saying that. Were they saying it to me? I don't know. Millbilly Cool Bear was moved by Barb after Two Rivers animal had him. Then he was moved by Ma Iver. Oh, good. That poor dog. And also to have his alpha taken from him, you know, I was very sad for the dog. He died. Oh, Millbilly. Of old age, hopefully, and not. All right, sorry, Bear. Rest in peace, little buddy. Bryce Magawan says, I think Bob took Bear, but then he was put down because he had cancer. Oh, all right. Julie Dean says, I think Steven's dog got sick shortly after that. Nobly. Aw, poor Bear. I was just told that Scott left the hospital at 5 o'clock. I was just told that Scott left the hospital at 5 o'clock. Okay, on the 31st. So he left the hospital at 5 o'clock. Same here after he got a phone call that shook him to the core. Yep. Bye, Dave. If I didn't miss you, bye. Just me, right? And I just don't think he went back to the hospital. And did Barb not say that she left with Scott to go to the hospital at 5 o'clock? Yes, she did say, or at 5:15. Yes, she did say that she went with him at 5. No, in my last live, didn't somebody say that the hospital did show that Scott wasn't there? Didn't somebody leave a comment like that? I can't remember. Yeah. Um, the hospital should know. And they probably do. Who even knows? It's a matter of, the people that probably saw or didn't see Scott that night might not know the relevance of it, that of how important it is, the details of the time. I also think in the Ricky Hochstetler case that may have happened, the kids that he was hanging with that night said he left at a certain time, and I just don't believe it is exactly that time, and I don't believe that those kids ever went back and got the paperwork to see that was accurate. I'd be really interested to see because there's a discrepancy in the time there for sure as well. Millbilly says Kosurik commented on Jacob's obit, but then deleted it. Oh, really? Probably because he had something to do with it. Yep, they were neighbors. That's how Jim knew too, because it was Kosurik, Jacobs. Didn't the Hermans maybe live around there, or was it just Kosurik and Jacobs? Yeah. Kind of interesting. I wonder if maybe Dennis Jacobs, because he comes up like in the old yearbooks too, and I could be wrong. I might be a stupid, naive asshole, but he seemed to have a little bit of kindness in his eyes. I could be wrong. He just seemed like he didn't give me the same vibe as Bruce. And it came up right that he's the one who lost the zipper voice message. I don't know if he did that. I think he had also had a job, or, it was just going to come back. Hey, it's gone. It's going to come down on him. But who knows? Maybe Dennis Jacobs knew that shit was coming down. Maybe he knew that shit was starting to come out about Bruce. It kind of didn't come out after that, but I wouldn't put it past him to kill Dennis Jacobs for sure if he was coming forward. And he was very young, had a heart attack. I don't buy it. I don't trust anything they say. Nothing. Okay, it's chapter 15 in Farrick's book, Farrakh. Doesn't matter, because John Farrick didn't write that chapter, I'm sure of it. He just wrote propaganda to control the narrative. Nan's life. Ironically, the Manitowoc County Bar Association president of 2005, also known as Carmen Bartwell, attorney in October court, appointed also known as Fensel, Ronald Fensel's attorney, that recused from his case, also known as wrongful death attorney, died November 3rd, a few years ago. Is that Carmen Boutwell attorney? Ron Fensel's attorney? Well, come on, give us a name. We're not on Reddit here. Spill, Nan's life. Spill the details. I need to know. Leah says, no, someone named D. Vogel had posted that comment on Jacob's obituary page. I hope you burn for 36 years. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's appropriate. I know that in my research, I was looking up Alfred Schultz's obituary, and I too was tempted to leave something similar to that, but I didn't because, who's got time for that kind of drama when I have all this drama? Not to you, to Jacobs. Got you. Remaker. Remaker. Okay, Millbilly, you're saying Remaker. Is he the neighbor to Kosturik and Jacobs? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah. Nan's life, are you going to tell me before we get going here? Because I can look it up. I'm real interested in that Ron Fensel. Okay. Dennis Vogel, you're saying? The Ronald Fensel case, well, you all know that one. That was, is it Sakawati? Did they frame am I thinking the right case? Yeah, Ronald Fensel it hasn't been so long and he passed away in jail. I actually think his wife now maybe just passed away as well. Very sad. What do you do? What do you do when they got you in there and you can't prove? I mean, Stephen and Brendan are so damn lucky that this did get on to mainstream, because otherwise they'd just be sitting there with nobody to help them either, And sadly, there's a lot of people in that are like that are wrongfully convicted. Sakawati, okay, cool, yeah. Found in the quarry, the Verdant quarry over there too. And that's the thing, Millbilly, that is my fear for myself and us out here, is that we will be framed in a similar way. And that's one of the reasons I made myself so public, because I do fear for my life, and I mainly fear that they will set me up, because you see how easy it is for them to do, and you see that they're a gang of assholes can all come together to make it look just so, and there's not much you can do when you're in a cage. So yeah, what if what they found was Lori? Right. Yeah, you got me thinking about Lori deputies again. it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. I don't mean it like that, but they said they found they found other human bones, and I just don't get why that hasn't been investigated, you know? And now in this Ken Kratz junk I just read, what was he saying about the DNA? Because isn't the world looking for Scott's DNA or something? Is Scott in the DOJ database? I know we asked Dean Strang if Chuck was. They said they thought so, but it would be nice to know because, and actually, if they're not going to test law enforcement's fingerprints and blood, then they're being biased themselves. I mean, how can it even go to trial that they thought that Strang and Buting thought that the cops did it without the cops needing to give DNA and fingerprints and stuff? I mean, aren't they the ones? That's weird. Anyway. I will send info to you in the morning. I'm in bed on phone right now. Oh, I'm so jealous. I wish that I could be laying in bed, but I'm sitting up. Okay. Kiss Army Chick. Now that I can say your name. Buckets and buckets and buckets of. I can't see what that says. The more you know. All right, you guys, I'm going to cut this. Here we are, close to 2 hours again. I'm sorry this wasn't very eventful. Again, I'm just trying to get stuff out. I think this letter is important. Important that it shows how much Brenda doesn't know what's going on, and hopefully he will sooner than later, huh? And again, sorry about making your ears bleed with Ken Kratz, but sometimes you gotta read this crazy bullshit so you can have something to. It's not even laughable, actually. It's actually kind of almost dead on if we could just add in the people that were working with them. So, yep. All right, guys, great that you came. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Good night.